Yo, we have a pretty big update. Regional prize pools, national prize pools, the world championship prize pool, all of that is up now, which honestly about time, but it does make such a significant difference to how you can go about playing competitive Pokemon. And I'll just say it right now, I think it's actually pretty reasonable to pursue playing competitive Pokemon on like a decently regular basis now. Because you look at this, the VGC regional prize pool has... Before you would get like 2k for winning, now you get 6k, a whole 3 times increase. So not just are you funding your trip, you're funding let's say you have like 500, 700 per trip, right? You're funding so many more regionals off of a win now, and it's funding so many regionals off of a second place now, that it's so much easier to have this like combo effect in the circuit, where like you win a regional, you do really well at this one regional, now all of a sudden you can put that money back and you can use it to go to another regional, and you can actually create a pretty decent loop while also still like profiting. Because the problem with the competitive circuit before, you get like second for 1k, right, like I did at Milwaukee, that was never enough to really fund more events. And the idea of having to get second at every event in order to be at a point where you can like reasonably fund a new trip is not very good. Because like the general placement someone's going to get, even a top player, you're not going to generally top cut, but now you have more leeway, so you can get a lower placement and you can fund the trip you're going on now, and then you can pursue going to a new regional a lot easier without necessarily taking money that you make from your job to fund your life. So this is a huge part on this, like making VGC accessible and making it so like we can have this kind of combo effect in a way that's not kind of this awful. Because you would pay like $70 for an entry fee for a regional, there'd be like 900 players in, so there's like only 8 people making money, and even the 8 people making money aren't making really any money at all. So the price for this, getting flights, getting hotels, getting like all these accommodations for each event was never worth it. But with the new money change, is across the board this generally more valuable. And we see the same picture with like the international championships. The Travel Wars, that's the same, but Pokemon Go, and then VGC, the Master Division now gets 15k, and it goes all the way down to top 32 gets 2k, and that makes the internationals so good. Like I always talk about how internationals are the premier event of the season, but let's say you go to like EUIC, right? Or you go to like the Latin American International Championships. If you go to those and you get like top 32, you're funding your whole trip to this foreign country. And that's just amazing. So now like, I think it's a lot more reasonable for if you're from like Europe, you're from Brazil or someplace. It's much more reasonable for you to pursue going to these out of country internationals. And even if you're like a Japanese player, even if you're like from Singapore, from some other region that's not really part of our circuit, you have more of a justification to go to this now because you're able to fund your trip off of this like a top 32, which is still I'm just saying this off a top 32, but it's still like a hard bar to pass. But it's like the fact that you can fund only off of a top 32, which again is something you just could never do in the past, even though these events would have like 800 players, 700 players, and now like 900 players. Like there's way too many players, but you would never be able to quite fund how you would just proceed to go through events. And this makes LATAM in particular really strong, because LAIC is of course the first internationals. So if you go to LAIC, you can use the LAIC money you get to go ahead and fund going to even more international tournaments. And this does go into something a little unfortunate that I have to mention really quickly. But the Oceana International Championships that we had in Australia is gone now. And I do want to at least mention that, because that is a little bad for the scene. But other than that, I'll probably like talk about that more later. But I have like a theory that OCIC, Australia's region, might be getting a move to the Japanese circuit. I don't think that's accurate, but that is something important to talk about that we'll probably talk about later if we get like a bigger update on the Oceana region. But for now, we'll just leave it at that. And then finally, we'll talk about like the World Championship prizes. 30k. 30k. It is kind of crazy that it doesn't go down to like top 32 like an Internat's award does. But 30k. Ooh. That's pretty good. It's pretty good. It should go down to... I'll say my one problem. I think it should at least go down to top 32. I mean, Internats goes down to top 32, and I think Worlds is the harder event. So, there's that. But regardless, this is a very, very good prize update. It's like a 3 times increase. And then like second place is like I think a 4 times increase on the prize pool it was last year. So really this is a realistic thing that you can like start pursuing harder, and mainly the big reward here is like Internats getting updated, regionals getting updated, but Worlds getting updated, more prizing as well. It makes it even more prestigious and hopefully makes it even more competitive. Because like I'll say for sure, even though I didn't register for Peoria because I was like, I don't know if I really care enough, with the regional prize pool update, I think I fundamentally care a fair bit more. Because it's different justifying an event when you can say, oh, no matter how well I'll do, I'll at best probably just fund the trip, and I'll have to do like insanely well to be able to fund the trip. So it became more this traveling for the hell of it instead of like pursuing these good results. But now that the prize pool is updated, I think like all of us as like competitive players and even more casual players who are just going to these competitive events can look at these prize pools and say, hey, wait a second, this is pretty okay. This is pretty decent. So like you more reasonably go like, yeah, what if I just decide to go and just ball out this one tournament, and then I have like a decent amount of prize pool and I can just take it all home and maybe never play again. You know? Or just keep comboing that into even more events. Like there's such a better combo cycle to how these events works now. And I'm so excited about this update. And this means such immensely great things with the growth of the game. Like we've already seen numbers expand insanely. The amount of people playing VGC is actually ridiculous. But now the monetary compensation is actually starting to like match up to how like ridiculous the competition can be and the numbers the competition can be. And this is really exciting. I can't stress that enough. I am very, very happy about this change for sure. This was a very happy, excited child. But yeah, that's it for this one. Just want to give you guys a little idea of the VGC prize pool that's being updated in general, and this how like this amazing and great this is. Like I kind of thought this would happen because it didn't feel right how the circuit was compensated compared to how many players were going. But like since it was Pokemon, I didn't expect it to be like a 3 times increase. I thought it would be like a 2 times increase, or like very minimal. But instead it's like it's quite a bit actually, and quite a fair point to where you can justify so many more events. And that's amazing, and I love it. I'm so excited for like this the increase in competitiveness this will bring to the VGC circuit, and it kind of like alleviates this part where I think our prize pool was so bad that we were kind of a joke. But now like it's good enough where I'm like, okay, this is fine, this is great, this is a great point where we can just like get new players in, we can get our top players to more events, and if this all around this works out very well. So yeah, I'm just happy about this. That's it. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think about it, because like this is an amazing change. Goodbye.